Week 6, what we're looking at for the diet, still about 15 pounds down. I'm at the point now where I'm losing about half a pound to a pound of fat a week. Seems about right. The way that I'm achieving that is 2,500 calories is what I'm eating. I'll go and do, after my workout, I'll do like 30 minutes of cardio 5 days a week. Puts me at about 1,000 calories a week burned just in cardio. 2,500 calories is low enough that I should be able to get into the teens for that, but we'll see. I'm a little bit slow with work right now, so my regular energy expenditure is a little bit lower. Like if you sit at a desk all day versus someone who has a job where you're walking around, you're just gonna burn less calories. Kind of what I'm doing right now, unfortunately. It's just the nature of my job when it's cold out. Seems about right. 2,500, a little bit of cardio. I'm not going crazy. I'm not doing like an hour a day or 2 hours a day. I think that that's a little bit too much. Just depending on what kind of cardio you're doing, your legs might just have a hard time recovering from that. I guess you could do like the machine where you pedal with your arms, but like, I don't want to do that. So that's working out really good. As to be expected, the strength is definitely starting to drop. So today was legs and a little bit of back. So like basically a pull day. Got up to 405 for what I thought was going to be a set of like 7 or 8 on squats. A set of 2 and a set of 1. And that last one was a total grinder, and it felt like I had nothing in the tank. That is the worst part about dieting for me. I don't mind being hungry. I don't mind kind of shrinking down, looking a little bit different in the mirror. I'm fine with all that, but it really sucks when you start getting weaker because it feels like you are losing all these gains that you worked for. But obviously, that's kind of the trick of dieting. It's all temporary. I'm going to continue to probably lose some strength. If it really dips and I'm at like, I don't know, you just kind of know when you're like, okay, maybe I'm losing weight too fast. I will do a refeed day. Just go up to maintenance calories for maybe like 2-3 days. Try to get some of that strength back and then continue the deficit. That's just to be expected. That's just part of dieting down. I have a hard time with that, but it's just the nature of it. Hopefully this background's a little better. I felt like the closet with all of my college papers was a little bit annoying to look at. So this is a little more interesting. Week 6 is going fine. It's just going as expected. I'm like 15 pounds down. So definitely making progress. I've probably lost like 6 pounds of fat, 7 pounds of fat, something like that. So that's going well. Why am I doing this? Like, that's a good question. I don't get asked this a lot because I think if you know, you know, and a lot of the bigger guys at the gym kind of get this concept. But if you're a little bit new to working out, or maybe you've got like 2 years under your belt, cutting and bulking thing probably seems a little bit odd. Like, why don't you just go to the gym and work out and get stronger? That's a great point. Basically, that will work for a certain amount of time. And for me, that was about 2 years. I'm sure everyone has seen someone like this at their gym if they go consistently enough. And it's basically the guy they've known for like 5 or 6 years, and they're consistent with the gym, but they don't really, their appearance doesn't change. So they're not getting really stronger. They're not losing weight. They're just kind of throwing some weight around, and they're just kind of stuck there. So that's basically like the lifetime intermediate. And I think that's where a lot of people think that's where the natural limit is just for any kind of muscle gain. And what people don't realize is once you're through those first couple of years of working out consistently, do something different because your body basically just knows what to expect. And it says, okay, we've been doing this for a couple of years. We need to slow down this rate of muscle growth. The way that you counteract that is by giving your body more material than it needs to build that muscle. So that's what a calorie surplus is. There's 2 ways really that you could go about that. So you could basically go like the main gaining route, which would be a very mild calorie surplus. That's basically what I start with each time I'm eating in a big surplus. If my maintenance, just for example, is like 3,000 calories and I'm sitting at like 225, I'm gonna bump it up to 3,500 for a couple of weeks. When my weight bumps up and inevitably just slows down, then I'm bumping up another 500 to 4,000. Sit there for a few weeks. bump it up to 4,500 and on. See, I cap out at like 5,000. It's a little bit hard for me to eat more than that. What I'm basically doing is I want to make sure that my body has every opportunity to pull from these energy stores that I'm giving it and build muscle with it. I can go as hard as I want in the gym, but if I'm eating, you know, just whatever my maintenance is, why would my body grow? I'm not giving it anything extra to put on new muscle. That's basically the mentality behind this. The only reason that these end, basically twofold, is I hit my goals that I wanted to do on this bulk. Basically, I hit a weight PR that I wanted to for squat, bench, and deadlift and overhead press. Or I basically am just capped, like my system's just like maxed out with what it can handle. I kind of hit that this time, although I hit almost all of my powerlifting PRs minus I was 5 pounds short on squat, but that's okay, it's close enough. But I just couldn't get the food down anymore. My hunger signaling was all jacked up, so I was basically never hungry. Always had food in my system. I did get very strong and continued to get strong, but I just got to the point where I was just so tired of eating. You don't want to stay there, obviously. You don't want to be like force feeding indefinitely, because then you'll be 800 pounds. Not the good kind. So you can basically drop down to maintenance, which is what I did in the beginning. You can stay there for a little bit, just kind of let your diet reset, but you got to do something about the fat that you put on. I don't know what the rate is of like muscle versus fat, and I'm sure it's different between everyone, but for me personally, it seems like for every, 5 pounds of muscle I put on, it's like 6 pounds of fat. So like not quite 50-50, but somewhere in there. I'd say I probably put on 20 pounds of fat and muscle. I would guess that maybe 9 of that was real muscle, and I can verify that just by how strong I got. And maybe 11 of that's fat. I don't think there's really a way that you can minimize the fat that you gain other than just eating in a really slow calorie surplus. So like 250 calories per week on top of your maintenance, kind of, putting on maybe a pound or 2 pounds a month. That just takes forever. And I think at some point you're going to run into the same problem you were with main gaining, which is basically just your body's like, yeah, I need more material than this to build muscle. That's kind of why you can't just bulk forever. You got to get rid of that fat that you put on, or you're just going to have like the strongman look, not something I want. Once I've kind of hit these goals, or I'm just tapped out on what I can eat, I diet down. The goal for the diet is a couple things. I want to keep as much strength as I can, so basically still do 70-80% of my 1 rep max and just kind of rep it out, see if I can. If I can't do that, then do like 60%. Nothing wrong with that. But you just want to keep exposing yourself to maybe not your 1 rep max, but like just heavy weight for reps, low reps. Just so you're not basically having to relearn what that weight feels like when you go back into calorie maintenance, because I did that on the first 2 bulks and it just took forever to get back to being strong again. Like I felt like it took half the bulk to just get back to where my strength was before I dieted down. And like at that point, it's just a waste of time. This has worked really well on the past 2. So like if my max is 585 on deadlift, I'm gonna do my absolute best to still be able to rep out like 545 on deadlift, even if I'm feeling fatigued. And that's worked really well for me, because basically as soon as I go back into maintenance after I'm dieted down, the strength comes back like that. And I'm basically 20 pounds lighter and just as strong in like a week or 2, which is awesome. That has worked really well for me. That's kind of the mentality behind what I'm doing. Not sure if anyone's had that explained to them before that way, but I thought that would make sense to someone who hasn't tried the cutting and bulking routine. It works really well for me, so that's why I'm doing it. I'll probably keep doing these for a couple of years until I kind of hit the size that I want, and then strength and leanness. Those are all obviously tied in with that. But that's all I got for this one. Appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to leave a comment if you guys have like a video idea of a topic for me. I want to make content that isn't really, the stuff that's not talked about a lot that's fitness related it's tough because a lot of stuff has been covered out there. I think I've got some interesting takes just as someone who has put on quite a bit of muscle pretty quickly. I think I'm a little bit advantaged in that, and I've learned a lot and I've tried a lot. So I think that those kind of give me just an opportunity to discuss things that have worked and things that haven't. So anyway, appreciate y'all's time. Have a good one.